Yes!
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Completionist. There are countless novels that explore utopian societies, and a lot of those novels have been adapted to films. So today, I thought, why not take a look at a game that's all about utopias gone wrong? Bioshock.
Back in the mid-2000s, Irrational Games had already developed several games since the creation of the studio in 1997, including the critically acclaimed System Shock 2. But it wasn't until lead developer Kevin Levine made the choice to create a title that followed the design tenets of the original System Shock series that the studio would see massive financial success. By focusing on strong gameplay and presenting a compelling narrative that pulls influence from things like Art Deco architecture, Orwellian literature, and objectivist philosophy, Irrational Games created one of the most universally praised video games of all time. Bioshock has gone on to win countless awards since its release, but even more impressively, it's earned the right to undeniably be referred to as a piece of art. And just as a warning, the game isn't scary per se, but you may see some disturbing imagery throughout this review. No jump scares though, I promise. I swear. I super dog swear. If we could pinky swear right now through the screen, I would. Bioshock takes place in the year 1960, but not our 1960, a utopian timeline if you will. In this reality, an eccentric business magnate named Andrew Ryan has grown disenfranchised with the way the world's governments play ball. So he built his own undersea utopia known as Rapture, where he's free to run things as he sees fit. As a haven for the elite and exceptional, free from silly things like morality and altruism, Rapture grew into an epicenter of unabated scientific and artistic progress. It's like an old issue of What If, or an episode of Tales from the Crypt.
Tales from the Crypt.
Alright, I'm an adult, and that Muppet-ass skeleton right there is still terrifying to me all these years later. At least 5 of you out there are still terrified of it. Don't deny it, it's okay. We're a support group, we're a team. Rapture's peace was put on pause. That sentence. Rapture's peace was put on pause when the political skirmishes between the haves and have-nots, led by Andrew Ryan and Frank Fontaine respectively, erupted into an all-out war. After Fontaine's death in battle and the rise of man named Atlas as the new leader of Rapture's lower class, the underwater civil war only escalated further. When Atlas staged one last desperate attack on Ryan's forces, it was the city of Rapture itself that paid the price. The vast majority of the city and its denizens were left broken and decimated, with a stubborn Andrew Ryan refusing to relinquish control of his failure of a utopia. And that's where we, the players, come in. In Bioshock, we assume the role of Jack, a passenger aboard a plane that crashes into the Atlantic Ocean near the entrance of Rapture. Poor Jack barely avoids drowning, only to find himself caught in the middle of an ongoing personal war between Andrew Ryan and Atlas. Jack stumbles onto a shortwave radio, which puts him into direct contact with Atlas himself, who explained that he's not leaving Rapture until he can rescue his wife and child, who are lost somewhere in the city. Agreeing to help locate Atlas's family, Jack sets out to stop Andrew Ryan and escape from the hell that Rapture has become. But with all sorts of genetically enhanced crazies crawling around every corridor, surviving's not gonna be easy. As an outsider looking in, the dystopian setup of Bioshock is so wonderful. However, the story from our protagonist's side is somewhat generic, but the world and atmosphere around us is what pulls us in. Similar to games like Arkham Asylum, we get this vibe that everyone is out to kill us, especially since we're in a world that is brand new, not only to us, but to Jack, our protagonist. Think about it this way, when was the last time you saw a character named Jack go underwater to start his journey? What? Oh, come on, spoilers? Really? You've had plenty of years to watch these movies. Here's a spoiler, there's a third, and a fourth, and a fifth one on the way. Bioshock isn't a game that's afraid to present its themes prominently, but rather than have its characters discuss these themes over and over again via cutscenes, they're instead subtly reflected in the characters' actions and the very setting of Rapture itself. First off, this game's visually striking. The luxurious and exuberant Art Deco atmospheres clashes wonderfully with Rapture's festering and broken down state. It looks like what Batman the Animated Series Gotham City would look like if the Dark Knight wasn't around to protect it. It also looks simultaneously cartoonish and foreboding. The juxtaposition of the aesthetically pleasing and jarring provides a unique experience for the player. Just when you've been immersed in some of the glitzier areas of Rapture long enough to drop your guard, the game is bound to throw something utterly messed up at your way, which is kind of what the backstory of Bioshock is all about. The idyllical promises of yesterday being side by side with the failures of today. And to top it all off, it's one of the few PS3 games to actually run at a full 1080p. These themes are ever present in Bioshock's audio design as well. The many audio diaries that you come across in the game help to reveal what the world of Rapture and its citizens were like before its fateful fall.
If I come out one more time and find you lolling out there amongst my hives, I'm grabbing my shotgun.
Opting to build its world with these tapes, the game allows the player to remain in control of their character even as the plot develops around them. The licensed music in the game is truly astounding. It lends an air of authenticity to the world of Bioshock by reinforcing the reality of the post-World War II era. Not only that, but it also furthers the theme of the past's beauty existing alongside the beasts of the present. There's something so haunting about blowing people away while crooners from the 1950s sing in the background.
How much is that dog in the window? The one with
Disturbing.
the
Bioshock uses its entire suite of audio-visual tools to meticulously present its themes and content over time, allowing the player to piece things together for themselves. Instead of actually showing the war that brought Rapture to ruin, the game begins its story at the point when the dust has already settled and the player is left to slowly recreate events in their head based on observable evidence. It's like a Jurassic Park movie where a team of operatives enter the park weeks after it's been taken over by dinosaurs, with evidence of the massacre everywhere in sight. What? Oh yeah, you were expecting Jurassic Park footage on the screen, weren't you? Look, I'll pick my fights where I can in terms of copyright battles, but I want you to think carefully about everything I just said and apply it to this clip instead.
I got a jar of dirt. I got a jar of dirt.
With regard to gameplay, Bioshock has a lot to offer. Combat, puzzles, RPG elements, and add just a pinch of stealth to make this game as rich as a tuxedo cheesecake. Although players will start the game with a mere wrench as their only means of self-defense, they'll eventually gain access to an entire arsenal of firearms, including a shotgun, a revolver, and a Tommy gun. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal! But what sets Bioshock's combat apart from a lot of other FPSs is the plasmid system. See, in the world of Bioshock, Rapture scientists discovered a species of sea slugs that produce a substance known as Adam, which has the potential to alter an organism's genetic makeup. When processed into special serums known as plasmids, the Adam can be utilized for control mutation. Basically what that humbo jumbo means is that in Bioshock, there are potions lying around that give you a different superpower of X-Men-like proportions. With traditional fare like pyrokinesis and slinging electricity, the game also offers a lot more unique powers. You can summon insects to do your bidding,
Not the beast! Ah! Open my eyes!
enrage enemies to fight other enemies, and even create a Total Recall hologram to distract the baddies. See you at the party, Richter! In addition to these plasmids, Bioshock also allows players to customize themselves further with the use of tonics, equipable items that provide passive buffs. Puzzles play a big role in Bioshock, with the main one being the pipe flow puzzle. You guys know those pipe flow puzzles, right? They're pretty common nowadays. In order to complete the puzzle, the player must rearrange different tiles that represent various kinds of pipes in order to direct a stream of water from one end of the grid to another. It's pretty simple, and you're going to be seeing this puzzle very often than not. Let's say you want to take down an enemy turret and want it to fight on your side. Then get ready for a pipe puzzle. Or maybe you come across a vending machine, but the prices are way too steep. Then here comes a pipe puzzle to get a hefty discount on these items. But hey, don't get me wrong, these pipe puzzles don't get old or stale. Many of them are completely optional and, as the game progresses, the puzzle scaling difficulty keeps them challenging and fresh. The game also presents a few environmental challenges, such as natural barriers that can only be crossed when the player acquires a certain weapon or ability, In addition, certain rooms in Rapture are rigged with electric wires, requiring careful thinking and navigation on the player's part. And if the player has the right set of abilities equipped, entire fights can be completely subverted or avoided by making use of Bioshock's stealthier powers. And just when you thought Bioshock had run dry on mechanics, the game throws a neat photo mode at you. Once you acquire the research camera in-game, you can take photos of enemies you encounter. The better your shot, the better your score, and the more combat bonuses you'll get when fighting that specific type of enemy in the future. Speaking of enemy types, the main baddies that you'll be dealing with in Bioshock are the Splicers. You know, the once sane citizens of Rapture that have been genetically augmented and psychologically twisted to become completely loyal to Alexander Ryan. These dudes come in all kinds of flavors. Some rush you down with melee weapons, others shoot at you from afar, while others still wield the same badass plasmid powers that you do. Identifying what kind of splicer you're dealing with and quickly selecting the right tools for the job are the best ways to stay alive. But the most iconic enemies of Bioshock, and probably the most iconic figure of the entire Bioshock franchise, are undoubtedly the Little Sisters and the Big Daddies. The former are young girls who've been genetically altered against their will to seek out and collect Adam from the enemy corpses lying around Rapture.
Somebody went and turned a sweet baby girl into a monster.
Yay, cheerful! The Big Daddies are guys who are surgically grafted into their diving suits and psychologically compelled to protect the Little Sisters at all costs. Big Daddies will take a ton of damage before they go down, but when they do, the player is then faced with a choice. You can completely drain the Adam from the Little Sister, resulting in her death, or you can bust a rogue from the X-Men and only drain half of her Adam, sparing her life. Cause you're a nice guy, right? Hopefully you're nice. I hope you're nice. Considering that you need Adam in order to level up your abilities, choosing to drain less of it means that you're going to be less powerful in the long run. Not to mention the fact that it's super disturbing when you choose to harvest a Little Sister. I'm sure it's much nicer looking when you choose to save them. Oh god.
Do you believe in magic?
See, there we go. Choice is another key word when it comes to Bioshock's gameplay. Do you go with a more offensive plasmid set, or one that allows for sneakier play? Do you invest the time into hacking the devices you disable, or do you pay your way to power using the money you've collected? Simply put, in Bioshock there are no wrong answers. The game allows you to play the way that you want to, giving the player freedom and a sense of diversity.
Light up foes to 1,000 degrees. Warning, fire spreads.
The story of Bioshock isn't without its fair share of soap opera plot twists. When Jack finally reaches Andrew Ryan's personal office, Ryan reveals that he is actually Jack's father.
That's impossible!
Honestly, I did not see that one coming and it just seemed a little out of place, but hey, I'm now more invested. It turns out that this fact is true and that Jack was stolen away as an infant by Ryan's old rival, Frank Fontaine. After playing a round of golf on old man Ryan's face, things start to get real. In true McDonald Miller fashion, Jack's old radio pal Atlas, who's been guiding Jack through the entire game, reveals himself to be Frank Fontaine himself. Oh wait, no, hold on, it gets better. Fontaine also reveals that when he stole baby Jack years ago, he implanted post-hypnotic suggestions into the child so that Jack would be forced to obey Fontaine's every command. When Jack eventually rids himself of Fontaine's influence, he takes the fight directly to the big bad himself, who's now juiced up on Adam like a venomated Bane. All things considered, the final boss fight is pretty damn easy. The battle follows a simple pattern of draining Fontaine when he's hooked up to his Adam injection machine until he confronts you directly. Do enough damage and Fontaine will hop back onto his big boy platform. Wash, rinse, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat. Sure, Fontaine may have a lot of health and abilities, and he may even throw a bunch of ads at you to draw fire. But ultimately, the fight is a bit of a cakewalk if you've leveled yourself up enough over the course of the game. Once defeated, Fontaine will begin to berate you, which distracts him from the gang of Little Sisters who are preparing to jump him. You go, girls. After stabbing him to death with their trademark needles, the fate of the Little Sisters is ultimately determined by how the player chose to deal with the little girlies throughout the game. If you chose to fully harvest at least one Little Sister, you're treated to a cutscene that depicts a group of splicers emerging from the deep to attack a submarine crew and hijack a nuclear warhead for the now seemingly corrupt Jack. But if you chose to spare every last Little Sister, the ending depicts Jack escaping from Rapture with a small group of these girls. They grow up and go on to lead full happy lives, ultimately surrounding an elderly Jack on his deathbed in love. It's a game over moment brought to you by Hallmark.
But I think I know. A family.
Although it doesn't have any unlockables or bonuses for completing the game per se, the PS3 version of Bioshock does have some nifty DLC challenge rooms. These 3 challenge maps exist outside of the main Bioshock narrative and serve as a way to offer even more of Bioshock's main gameplay mechanics. The first 2 rooms are puzzle focused, with one challenging the player to take out the Big Daddy with virtually no weaponry, while the other involves rescuing a little sister who's trapped atop a Ferris wheel by using various sources of electricity. Lastly, the combat room is actually a series of 9 rooms with enemies of escalating toughness. Although this DLC might be light on content, what is provided is clever, fun, and it really pushes the player to think critically about the skills they developed while playing the main Bioshock game. If you think you're a master at Bioshock, then these challenges might be a surprise for you. Bioshock provides enough narrative and challenge to make it a memorable title. While it started out with a simplistic plot, it ended up being a thrill ride in the end, one that I don't regret taking. I will say that having a completionist's mindset for this game can be quite taxing. Bioshock, while critically acclaimed for its prowess of the difficult and the strange, tended to be a tiny bit of a completionist's nightmare. Getting certain achievements by not doing certain things in a run proves to be a big pain in the ass. Several playthroughs be damned, Bioshock asks for you to do a lot to complete it, and with no end game in sight for doing so, it feels a bit empty. But hey, so does the world of Rapture. Metaphor? Am I the only one that really liked all 3 pirate movies? The 4th one's like alright, but I really enjoyed all 3 as a trilogy. I could talk about those for days.
Bioshock is an unforgettable and beautiful game that's more than earned its place in history and its place in the hearts of gamers everywhere. It provides an experience that's utterly fun and one that holds up to this day. Its story is engrossing and pretty damn thought-provoking. Whether you're enjoying the game for its wonderful aesthetics, its deep or solid gameplay, or its intriguing themes, Bioshock is sure to please just about anyone who picks it up and tries it. Except for completionists. If you're going for that full 100% completionist aspect, be prepared for a long, long haul. So, with that in mind, I give this game my completionist rating of finish it.
Finish it!
Hey, thanks for watching the video. I hope you're still here. If you're still here, give me a high five. Give me a handshake. Give me a donut. Just give me things because I'm asking for it. If you like today's video, do us a favor, give it a like and thumbs up and a comment and all that crap. And kickity, shiggity swag, click that video in the bottom left-hand corner if you want to see some more completionist goodness, or you can click on the right for something that's also related to completionist goodness, because maybe you want more completionist in your life. I know I do. I think I just lied to myself. Like if you cry every time. That's all the time we've got for today, guys, so please, as always, let us know what you thought about today's episode somewhere on the internet. If you want some more Bioshock goodness, we have an original article about the game available for you to read right now for free over at thatonevideogamer.com. We're getting ready to relaunch the site in the 2.0 phase with comment integrations and articles very similar to IGN. We're trying to build the community over at thatonevideogamer.com, and it's going to kind of encompass everything: Patreon, the Twitch streams, articles, community. We're trying to really unite everything under one umbrella over at thatonevideogamer.com. And if you guys are a fan of me, a fan of the community, you want to be a part of it, get ready for some big changes. And again, thank you for all the support for all these years of making all these videos. Now, if you excuse me, here's another Jack reference that we're going to throw at you. It can be any kind of Jack, Mark. It can be Captain Jack, both the pirate and the DJ. It can be Jack Skellington. I don't know. Mark is always the one that edits this part, so whatever you got, Mark.
The guy you really gotta watch out for is Candle Jack.
Candle Jack? How does he get ya?
That's the good part. He can't. Not unless you say his name out loud. So don't say his name, okay?
Okay. Hey, Buzz, we did say his name out loud. Uh-oh!
Maybe he didn't hear it.
Hello, boys.
Scream.
What's going on? Look, it's Candlejack! Candlejack!
I'm gonna need more rope.
Scream.